G'day and welcome to this week's client question. This week we had the question from one of our YouTube subscribers. Thank you very much for the question. It's really the pros and cons of superannuation. I'll kick off with the pros because in my view there are substantially more pros than there are cons. And the first one, which is the big one, is that once you get to retirement and age over 60, you can have $1.6 million in superannuation completely tax-free. Within the superannuation account itself, there is zero tax on the income it receives, and the pension that you receive once you're over 60 comes to you completely tax-free, and all lump sums that are taken out. So if you can imagine a husband and wife, a couple, they can have up to $3.2 million completely tax-free. Any money in superannuation above the 1.6 is taxed at a maximum rate of 15%, so that's still pretty generous. And of course we've got our own individual tax rates where we can earn quite a bit of money individually before we pay tax at all. So for me it's the 1.6 which is extremely attractive and gets to a tax rate that we just can't beat. And of course superannuation, any concessional contributions we make up to the $25,000 cap, we're going to pay 15 cents on the dollar in preference to 21, 34.5, 39 or 37%. That's our marginal tax rates, and that's scaled depending on where you're at. You have got plenty of choice in terms of how you invest the money. So if you want to invest into property, into shares, to cash, term deposits, you've got plenty of options there. Now, one thing that I've seen in the past, particularly during the GFC and then all the way back to the tech wreck, that superannuation itself would get a bad name to say it's a bad investment. But superannuation itself is not an investment. It is purely a tax structure, a very concessionally tax structure. So it's a great spot to be. But so you can't blame superannuation for poor performance. That's about the asset allocation. And as we know, share markets have the ebbs and flows as they always do. Another pro is, and it's relatively new, you can now save for your first home deposit utilising superannuation. So this is a big change where you can now put in contributions, save tax, and then take money out to help pay for your deposit for your first home. And of course there's the co-contributions, spouse contributions, and the concessional contributions that I mentioned at the start that are extremely attractive. From the cons point of view, what scared people most is that the rules change quite often. There's now 2.8 trillion in the superannuation system within Australia. The government, obviously they're always trying to balance the books, and the budgets change and the rules have often changed, and that's where we're seeing concessional contributions where you put money into superannuation and claim a tax deduction go from unlimited to 100,000 to 50,000 and now $25,000. So those limits to help reduce your tax bill have come down substantially over the years. But again, still reasonably generous. If you start early enough, you can build up a lot of money into superannuation. And you can also put non-concessional contributions in of $100,000 per year. And there's a bring forward rule if need be. The other downside is that you're locking money away till your preservation age, which can be between 55 and 60, before you can touch the money. And this is the government obviously making sure that it's set aside and used as the sole purpose. Test is it's there for retirement and pension benefits once you retire. So that's its sole purpose. The other negatives is some funds can be expensive, so fees really do impact the net return. But what we're finding is that fees are coming down substantially. Administration fees are really coming down very quickly, particularly since the Royal Commission. So fees are definitely a negative. But overall, despite all the changes, superannuation remains a phenomenal place for you to have your retirement savings building up bit by bit. You can invest it, so there's your potential for capital growth as well as income, and you can select investments that suit. So it's definitely the spot to be. It's the easy wins, as I always say. Let's take the easy wins first, and superannuation is definitely the easy win when it comes to saving tax easily. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and click the bell to make sure you get a notification, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening.